Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Chantel and today I will be doing prompt 8 till 15. Now prompt 11 is hair and that one is not going to be in this week's video but will be in next week's video because I simply didn't have time to sculpt him for this week. So there will be a sculpt which is prompt 8. However, I'm going to do that one last. So let's get into prompt 9. As you noticed, I am not going to do a voiceover for this one. I'm going to do it live. So what I want to do in the corner of my diorama, I want to prop up this book like this and have the cat lying on here on the side of the book, hanging over it. So I've got a really bad version of a parody of Harry Potter. It's called Barry Trotter. Don't read it, it's not good, just don't. So we're gonna use it for this project. It was 50 cents. This one was, I think, 10 cents. And what I will do is I'm going to Mod Podge the pages, build an archway in here that goes through to the other side, probably with a little door. And then inside I want to have the bottle standing. So that is for the prompt bottle. But that's the plan, that's the plan. And what I want to do to cover up these pages is take a few pages out of this book and Mod Podge them on. I am going to find some pages that I want to stick down there and then I will come back to you. So the pages I selected is the start of the book, chapter 1, Down the Rabbit Hole. And the other side will be this. The thing about the mouse's tail. So I'm going to grab my Mod Podge and stick them on. The prompt after cat is cards. So I have these tiny little cards. Well, they're called mini playing cards. And I thought it would be cool to stick them in the book on the side. So that is what I'm going to do whilst I'm Mod Podging everything down. So what I'll do first is I will glue this on as best as I can. And then I want to age up the pages, age up the cards as well, and then stick the cards in and then glue all the pages together. So this is all cut to size and it needs to dry now before I age it up. But what I can do in the meantime is age up these playing cards. And I'm going to do that with Mod Podge and old tea bags. I said old tea bags, but I mean used tea bags. So I drank the tea, let the tea bags dry, and then this is what you get. So what I do, I just cut the tea bag open and then take the tea out. And then you're left with this, which can be used on other projects. So one tea bag fits one card perfectly on one side. And of course, I'm gonna cover the other side as well. Now that the cards are completely covered, I can cut away the excess. I'm just going to cut around the cards. And there we have a perfectly aged up card. Now if you want to go even more, you can always get some distress ink and go around the edges. There it is. So next step is to glue all the pages together. I'm just gonna try and stick with Mod Podge just on the sides, then stick the cards in as well as I go. Before I do that, however, I am going to take my distress ink and go around the edges of the book just to age it up. Now, because this activates with water, I'm going to grab my spray bottle with water and spray it. You can see where I've used Mod Podge, which is okay. Just gonna leave that to dry and then I'll be back. I just blasted it with a hairdryer and this is what it looks like right now. And this part is not even that noticeable. So that is what it looks like. And I don't really want to go over this with Mod Podge because it looks matte and nice and all that. So I might just go around the sides. Seven cards, uneven number. I think that looks good. I will just have a problem if I want to put the Cheshire Cat on top of here. So before it dries, I need to rearrange this. That was a bit silly. Okay. I can put this one here somewhere. And then the Cheshire Cat will be on top of that. Well, that's what my idea is, and it might not work out. I don't know. We will see. We will see. I want the pages of the book to look like they're gilded, so I'm just gonna apply some gold acrylic paint. Now that this is all dry and nice and gold gilded everywhere, even the cards, I'm going to apply some modeling paste to the back of the book to age it up. And because I want to make sure it sits at a 90-degree angle, I'm going to sit the edge of the book on my diorama and let it dry that way once I'm finished with it. Just with a palette knife, I'm going to apply the modeling paste. The main reason I'm doing this is I don't want that title of the book and the writer to show up on the back. Now this is entirely dry. I'm going to start with an ultramarine blue deep, just to get that deep shade that I am after. And then I'm going to build it up from there. And no, this is not the same blue as what was on there before. It's a little brighter. So I'm now gonna go over with this much lighter blue because this is way too dark, but I wanted to have that blue undertone. So there we go. Just gonna age up this book a little bit with some burnt umber acrylic paint just around the edges. Let's see if I can make kind of a wash that I can put over the entire book. There we go, a little bit more muted. With a clay extruder, I'm extruded some leftover clay and I'm going to make them into candles and clusters of candles. It's one of the easiest Halloween miniature decorations. After using the extruder, I cut them to size, and with a ball stylus tool, I'm creating the indent at the top of the candles where the wick will be. The wicks are made with a small piece of thin floral wire pushed into the top. I'm creating some candle clusters on a small slice of wood and attach them with liquid Sculpey. I then bake the entire thing in the oven according to package instructions. After baking and cooling down, I'm painting them with acrylic paint. With blue tack, I've attached the individual candles to a popsicle stick so I can paint them more easily. Now let's make a little fan and gloves. For the fan, I have this book, which is Dollhouse Dolls and Their Clothes. So I found this little fan pattern in it. It's not really a pattern. It is about finding your ruler, otherwise you don't know what to do. Let's say we have a 1-inch strip of tracing paper. This is tracing paper. I don't have rice paper, but I'm sure most of you have tracing paper. Cut the strip, or in this case, tear it. Got that strip. And now we need to do some zigzagging. I think that much would be enough, so let's start with that. And my zigs and zags are about 0.4 centimeters. That much in inches. I don't do inches very well on this side, on this smaller scale, but there you go. So I'm just gonna complete this and then cut 2 pieces of cardboard or cardstock actually, to make the fan holders. This is the part that I folded, and the nice thing about tracing paper is that it kind of stays in shape. So this would be my fan unfolded. I mean, I could fold even more zigzags, but I think this is enough. And it kind of stays in place. So now I just need to glue those ends on, and then we have a fan. So when I created Dumbledore's office, I used fan blades of an actual wooden fan. This is part of one of those fan blades that I just had as a cutoff. Then we have 2 pieces cut from that thin wood, and I've just rounded the corners with a nail file. And now I can glue them on. So I've glued this bottom part together. I'm just gonna let it dry like this. And then the fan is done. Moving on to the gloves. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to use a very thin felt. So there's different types of felt. So this is a thicker kind than this one, as you can see. And I'm just gonna cut a strip of it. There we go. So that's 1 inch wide. Now I'm gonna glue that closed with some Fabri-Tac glue, and I'm gonna let that dry. And I'm going to do the same for the other glove. So what I'll do now is I'm going to shape that like so, and then I'm going to cut inside of it 1, 2, 3 times, so I've got 4 fingers. And if there's bits sticking up, then just apply a little bit more glue to glue them together. And the way I've cut that, it looks like a little bit like a bunny paw, because there's this, it's the bunny's gloves. And I think I might actually go with this lighter blue, which will make these gloves a little bit longer as well. And then glue a little bead on each side of them, so it looks like a little button. Moving on to the prompt butterfly. Because butterflies are very delicate and thin, I chose to go with this tracing paper again, like the same that I used for the fan, and double it. I'm going to draw these butterflies on there and then cut them out, small ones and big ones. And then I'm going to color them with Sharpie, which will make it still see-through, or semi-see-through, translucent, I suppose. And then we've got the butterflies, which I can then place all around the diorama. So let's go ahead and do that. And now I've got a whole strip of them drawn out. And now I can start cutting them. For some reason I feel like I have more control with bigger scissors, so that is what I'm going to use. So I have all the dinky butterflies all right here. This is how tiny they are. And I have this Crayola signature marker, which is basically just an alcohol based marker. And now I'm going to color them all in. Now that they are all blue on both sides, I'm just gonna put black around the outside. With a white gel pen, I'm going to put some dots on there. And of course your butterflies can be any color you want. I just chose to go with blue. There we go. We have one butterfly that I can just put anywhere in the diorama. And here are all my tiny little butterflies, and I'm really happy with them. So now I just need to wait till my diorama is finished so I can place them all inside. Let's get into prompt 8, which is cat. And I would like the Cheshire Cat to lie on top of this book, as I said before. So in order to do that, I think I'm going to wrap the top here with some tin foil so I don't damage the book with unbaked polymer clay, and go from there. So what I will do now is I'm going to sculpt the Cheshire Cat, and then I'm going to position him on here, just the base of him, and then I'm going to bake him. And then what I'll do is, before I bake him, I'll press him on here slightly, gently. So, because it's a cat, and so he overhangs slightly. So then I'll bake him, and then I'll continue working on him. So to make this little fluff ball, let's take a sheet of tin foil and crumple it up, which would do fine just on there. Another piece of tin foil. Let's make his head. That would be about it, because it looks like his head is definitely larger than his body. I'm going to take a pointy tool to put the skewer in. So I'm looking this way. I'm going to position him like so. Get some painter's tape. Try to secure it as best as you can. Just pressing it in. It's gonna cover the entire cat with painter's tape. So I've pressed in the sides a little bit to define the cat body. Bulked out his bum a little bit as well before I put the tape on. So, and then push this in. So this is already the definition of his shoulder. This one doesn't really have that side yet, but I'll do that with clay. And then his tail will come out there. If I bend that side a little bit on the board, like so, it already has that little lip on the side, so you can almost already hang off the book. See, what I mean with cat overhang is just that little lip there. I'm going to sculpt all of the creatures except for the Alice doll with cosplay. And I've already conditioned this bit. And this is the medium to firm or medium firm cosplay, which takes a little bit longer to condition. So I've taken little parts, like parts that are about this size, and just kneaded them. And then another bit, and then another bit. And now I've got this big blob that is kind of workable. It's still kind of firm and my hands are cold, so that doesn't really help. But I'm going to try and do my best to make chess. I just rolled this out with just my clay roller and I'm going to apply it to the cat. I've got the entire body covered in clay now, and I've already positioned it on the book to see where it sits. So that's all good. Now I want to make some ears. They need some thickness behind the ear, so just putting a little bit behind the ear like that. And just shaping them. They don't have to win the beauty contest just yet. I'm just looking at a reference image on where his ears sit on his head. And you know what? It's gonna be completely textured because obviously the Cheshire Cat has hair. And it doesn't need to be all completely smooth. I'm just working away the worst textures. There we have it. His ears are on. Those two eyes are somewhere there. His nose goes forward. Somewhere there. He has a bit of a forehead, so... So his nose sits about there, and then his eyeballs are somewhere there. So what I've done for the eyes was I made a pupil and color shift paint around it. And this is what his eyes look like. So before I put them in his head, I will paint the back black, just in case any of the gray will show through, but I am really happy with what this looks like. Okay, now that these are dry, let's put them in his face. That looks really good. Like I said, I've never tried this before because I always thought that I couldn't put acrylic paint in the oven, but apparently you can. So there's that. So now I'm just gonna continue sculpting his face. Most of the time the cat has these hooded eyelids, so let me just add those in. Need to give him a bit of a chin. The reason for that is so his smile can sit there. There we already have it. You can already see it. I will put his teeth in later. So I think his head looks pretty good, to be honest. So that we have the base down now. What I might do is I might texture his fur and then move on to baking him for the first time, and then apply his legs. So this is one of his hind legs, and the way I sculpt that is I've got a long piece of tapered snake of clay, and then I just go like this. Pinch it together, and you've got the knee and the foot. And this is just if it's going to be sitting underneath the body. What I can do now is probably just cut it in half. And let it almost sit underneath his body on the side. That looks good enough. And then do the same thing on the other side. And now all I need to do is texture that fur. Let's give that foot some little detail. Even though it's on the underside, I would like still to do that. Little toe beans. I'm just gonna bake his 2 legs. And then I will be making his front legs. Maybe I can even sculpt his tail right now. Let's roll out a snake of clay. About as long as his body. And cattails always go down. I'm just gonna texture the tail and then bake the whole thing and then do his front paws. Now that he's been cured in the oven and it all looks good, what I still need to do is his front paws. So I've got 2 equal parts here. And I have to make a shoulder, and then it's sitting under his chin, as I think it would be nice for him to just lie there like that. So I'm just going to sculpt them into place now. His little front paws are done as well, so now the only thing left to sculpt is his smile, so his teeth. I'm gonna take some white Sculpey and some translucent Sculpey, or Bake and Bond, whatever you want to use for that. It both works the same way. And I'm going to apply that here before putting the white clay on. Very gently going to carve in his teeth, and I think his smile kind of separates from here. Just rounding those teeth a little bit more, and pop him in the oven for the last time, and then I can paint him. The cat is fully baked and his little grin, well, his big grin is in, and it's time to paint him. So what I'm going to start with is a very dark gray to get into all the nooks and crannies, and then I'm going to dry brush over the top his lighter gray and blue stripes. He is quite a bit darker. I think it shows up a bit darker on camera than he really is, but he's a dark gray now, and now it's time to paint on his stripes and give him some definition. So after every white stripe, there's a darker stripe, just slightly darker. So that's what I've added here. And then I only need to now do his mouth. And this is it for the second week of Mini Spooktober. I really enjoyed getting back into sculpting again, and I hope I will get all the sculpts finished before the end of this month. Please check out my other social media in the description box below, and if you're new here, welcome! Don't forget you can hit that subscribe and bell notification button so you don't miss out on any future videos, and of course, become part of the Raven family. Thanks so much for watching, stay safe, and I will see you all in the next one. Bye.